avoid fighting at all costs, especially, you know, like on the street or something. Because the first defense is running, or the first defense is actually avoiding danger in general. If you know there's like, you know, if you can't, like, let's say, you know, walking at night, you know, alone, that's the first thing. You know, being like, okay, maybe don't go into a situation like that. Second thing, you know, if you can't avoid that, being mindful. Obviously, you know, if you have pepper spray, or, you know, letting someone know where you are, having your location on, maybe even talking on the phone, you know, like having that. And a couple other details. So you know, this is obviously take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but there have been, I think, some studies or like people talking about how, who do criminals target, or who do people target when they're walking? And they saw that one of the things that really is like a differentiating factor is eye contact. And so people who are just looking down or not looking around at their surroundings, whether it's something subconscious or not, they seem a bit more of a vulnerable target. But if you make eye contact with people, or not even eye contact with people, but just looking around, that makes a big difference too. And so just kind of looking around, looking at people, and that's a little bit more of that, okay, I'm taking up some space. I'm having a little bit more awareness, and, like, you know, my presence is a bit more known, and that is just already another layer. Another one, I don't know if this works for women, but for men, it's kind of like walking as if walking with a little bit of a wider stance. And so walking like this, versus, you know, like someone described it as like if your like thighs are chafing, right? And so you're walking a little bit more like this, and then having a bit more of just like how you present yourself, and that confidence, that energy. You'd be surprised how much that already off-puts or sets like an extra layer between you and you know, potential danger and stuff. And yeah, I'd say those are things. I mean, like, do you guys have something that works for you? Like
Never having both earphones in my ear, or like making sure if I have even one in, that it's like where I can still hear, so I can hear if people are like walking close to me, or like things like that. If I have a purse or a bag, making sure it's like either a crossbody, so it's more secure, like things like that. Not like I'm just holding it out where someone can like take it. Not looking down at my phone too much either.
Yeah, the whole situational awareness aspect, like, you know, being aware of your surroundings and not getting caught off guard. It's, you know, sucks that girls have to do that, but I mean, do you have anything that like you like to do, or any thoughts?
That is a good safety tip though, like if you can avoid being out and about by yourself.
Exactly, yeah. So like, so let's see, so there's eye contact, taking a bit more space, the general vibe and energy that you give off, whether it be crazy or, you know, very like strong. Situational awareness, you know, like keeping in mind like whether you're listening to music, or maybe you know, the amount of clothes you're wearing, or the kind of clothes you're wearing, where your purse is, time of day, and also obviously not traveling alone. That's a big one. So
when it comes to that stance thing, I remember I was talking to a friend of mine about that, because like we were both from LA, and like she feels pretty confident walking like through the streets at night, and she was saying like, yeah, people don't just mess with me because like she's a very, you can tell she has like a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, she does have like a wider stance for sure. So that's why I was like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Almost like walking with confidence. Like my dad would always be like, oh, like walk up straight, like head up, like shoulders back. So then I'm not like.
Trying to articulate before, or maybe not. You just did it way better. But like the whole thing about like walking with bigger space, like your body posture, your body language, you know, that says so much about you, and so much like, I mean, we are technically animals, so it's like, you know, when they are looking for like a herd, and they're looking like, oh, I'm gonna pick out this one, they're looking for who's a little bit weaker, who might be, you know, like a little bit more shy, versus a person who's like, you know, bigger presenting and stuff. But yeah, and so obviously avoiding danger, avoiding dangerous situations first of all. Then the second layer is avoiding danger by running or escaping the situation somehow. Third would be, you know, using anything like pepper spray, you know, calling the police or whistle or something like that. And then fourth, if you are forced to engage, you know, obviously no hold barred, just go for it. Elbows, groin shots, kicking, right-footed, sounds like. And so just stand with your feet together, and then put the back of your right heel on your toe, like this, kind of like you're standing in line. And then try to have it as straight as possible. And then now, you know, you're good. Yeah, it's hard to balance on this debate. Yeah. And then now move this, pretend there's a line right here, right? Now move this heel out so that it's still in line with your toe. and then maybe like a little bit wider. There we go, yeah. Now pretend like you're sitting in a chair a little bit, just squat down a little bit, and then just like go like this and just have your hands out like this. Yeah, this is like getting down a little bit lower. This is like, you know, in a self-defense situation, if someone's like, hey, you want to fight, you're not going to be like, but, you know, like, but if someone is coming at you, immediately you're going to get into a little bit of an athletic stance, you're going to bend the knees a little bit, and you're going to, you know, have your hands out and ready to go. And I was kind of explaining to Taylor and Dean, who played Dance Dance Revolution.
It's like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's like Mortal Kombat, exactly. So pretend there's like a joystick controlling you, right? And so let's say the joystick moves right and I'm going right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by that foot moving out, taking a step, and then this one follows in.
Okay.
And then so right again, right, left. Now let's go back this way, left. And then yeah, and exactly the right follows. Let's go again, left, and then right follows. And then go forward, right foot steps in because we're all right-footed, and then left foot follows in. And then same thing going back, left foot goes back first, then right foot follows back. And so basically now you have like your 4 directions. You're kind of like a Mortal Kombat character, or you're kind of like a crab. You know, it's like right, left, back, forward. So why don't you give that a try? Just like right, left, back, forward. And then while we're doing so, yeah, exactly, just like that. Try to maintain kind of a line between your toe and the back of your heel. Because if you're like this, you're a bit more like off balance, yeah. And so if you have 1 foot forward a little bit, you at least have a little bit more control here. And so why don't you try that again? Right, left, back, forward. And then so remember, we're moving with the foot that is in the direction that we're moving first. That's the first foot that moves first. So if I go right, right one moves first. Yep, and then if I'm going left, left one moves first. If we're going back, back one. Going forward, front one. Perfect, yeah. And now, try it with your hands up like this. So right, left, back, so left foot goes first. Front, right, left. So yeah, so it's the same thing with striking. So if you're moving back, forward, left, and the basic, you know, defense, one arm up, and then one arm out. So then, have you ever thrown a punch before?
Thrown a football.
Thrown a football? Okay, yeah. And so when you throw a football, I'm assuming you throw with your right hand? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then your left foot's forward, right? So then I'm assuming when you throw a punch, you're also having left foot forward, right?
Yeah.
And so what I like to do is if I'm in this stance, right, I like to have my right hand up. If I'm just in a purely like defensive situation, I like to have my right hand up, like against my head, so like this entire forearm, and then my my arm and my shoulder are kind of blocking like the side of my head, right? It's kind of like running your hand through your hair. It's like, yeah, exactly, yeah. And so you want this elbow, yeah, like right here, and then this hand out, right? And this is kind of like you know, you're keeping them back. Like you can, you know, tap, you can move, and you have the situation. So at the very least, you can like, you know, back out and keep your distance, right? And so for this, if you're actually in a wrestling stance now, or if you, let's say someone, you know, is trying to like wrestle you or something, what I was explaining to them is that you're trying to get the inside control.
I was watching you do it.
Yeah, and so basically like you're here, right? And so you're kind of going like.
Isn't the inside, doesn't that have more control than the outside?
Yeah, the inside has more control than the outside, because like if, so like here, let me have the inside control on me, right? And like try and move me around. Yeah, see, like I'm not only working on like, because he has inside control, so he can just completely push forward on me, but since I'm outside, I have to kind of like press inward and forward too. And so he has a lot more control. And also if he has the inside, he has a lot more access to my legs, you know, like everything there, yeah, exactly. And so, and if you, that's why when we started out with standing, just like being able to have some kind of an athletic stance, so if someone is trying to come at you, at the very least having a good base, so if they're throwing shots, or if they're trying to grab you, then you can grab that inside control, grab that collar tie, at least be able to hold them a little bit, so that they can't manipulate you in that physical situation.
Can I try pushing you real quick?
Yeah.
I want to see like, cause like, okay, so if I get inside, Okay.
And so this mat's slippery, but notice how I'm still in this position, right? And so like should try and like manipulate me, right? Oh, basically, yeah. And so I'm here, right? And so do it again. And so at least being able to end up back in that athletic stance, so that if he does it again, he can do it again. He can do it again. He's pushing me. I'm not necessarily. I might be taking some damage, but he's not able to like grab me or something, right? This might be a little bit more advanced, but so if let's say someone grabs you from behind, right? And so if you let's just grab my waist, grab my waist, right? And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use this, like the most important thing you can do is fight the hands. It's not even necessarily about breaking it in one clean swoop, but as soon as you can get the thumbs in and start pressing back, like you hold tight, hold tight. But basically, I'm pressing back in and I'm pushing my hips out, and I'm gonna try and break out this way. And at the very least, at the very least, like just being able to do this for a while, and then maybe like they get tired or something like that. Let's say I have you here, right? Yep. Okay. And then now once he's here, he breaks out. I like to hold onto this hand. That's what I was taught, and then like turn around like this, and then now I have, you know, my basic defense. I'm not gonna fight that guy. Well, okay. Well then, so then there's that, right? And so then there's also what I was showing Dean. So there's this thing called a collar tie, right? So if we lock up real quick, so come this way. If we lock up and I have his arms here, so I have him on the outside, right? And then we're both trying to like fight and move around. Sometimes this is just like this arm lock right here. But then there's also the option of a collar tie where I'll come and I'll make like a fish hook with my hand. So then if I have this collar tie here, right, and I'm having this tight, I'm not only just grabbing like this, but I'm also having this touching the inside of his neck and this side touching his shoulder. And so here, I also have this inside tie, and I can push back, I can push forward, I can snap down, I can turn him this way, push back, turn him this way again. Oh yeah, well that works too. And so like if you have here, right, so throw a collar tie back on me. And then so what's really important is head positioning. A lot of people forget that head is like really powerful. So like if I'm pushing into his head like this, that move, because if you move,
whole body.
Yeah, if you move the head, the whole body moves. And that's why when someone takes a shot, also on you too, you want to push down on the head, because then they're just like, oh crap, I can't like, get up. And so like shuck the shoulder, or actually here, why don't you do it on me real quick? So like put it here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this wrist, I'm gonna shuck my shoulder in. And then I'm going to grab under the bicep here and then press down like that.
I've seen that move before.
Yeah. Some people like decide to train grappling because they say, okay, if someone like squares up to fight with you, you can run away.
Easily.
Yeah, but if someone grabs you, it's a different story, you know. And so, like when let's do that again. So like, except do it this side now. So I'm going to grab this wrist, and like the shoulder is really important here because the shoulder is what's pushing on this elbow. So I grab here. And then as soon as I'm doing that, I'm pressing my head in here, and then from here, you know, you can like, you know, disengage and stuff. And yeah. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've experienced.
So
yeah. So then let's go over a little bit of ground stuff. This is what is called a technical getup, and so you kind of lean to one side, right? So like you're kind of like pretend like, you know, you're being pulled. And yeah, exactly, yeah, you sit like this, right? And then, except have your foot up like this. Yeah, and so now what we're doing is we're basically having this hand up, kind of like when we were like, you know, striking, you know, having this hand out. Except from here, now what we're doing, this might be tough, but bringing this foot back here. So you can watch me real quick. So from here, pull it out, and then stand up. And now you're in your regular position again. And so Jiu-Jitsu kind of gets made fun of this a little bit for this, but it works. It's called butt scooting. And so if you ever do end up on the ground, right, and you're like this, same position we're in, right? Switch around. And so if someone is like your dean, just like obviously, just like, you know, just kind of walk towards me a little bit. And so what I'm doing here is I'm like managing his hands, right? And with this foot, I can also push on the foot here, and so I can like push back, or I can like watch his foot, and like if you try to like circle around, I might like try and track it with the foot, and then like also put my foot, you know, like and so my hand's out here. Obviously, you don't want to be in this position for a long time. And so let's say like he comes here, right, and I kind of like push up a little bit, and then I try to stand up, and then I'm back in this position up here. So like the original Jiu-Jitsu guys, they're from like Brazil. It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they say that if someone can touch your face when you're grappling, you're not doing grappling right.
Yeah.
Because then someone can be punching you, and the whole point is to be able to defend yourself, you know, on the ground.
See what I?
Yeah, and so actually this is a great transition into basically what's called like open guard. And so this is what we call open guard.
Sorry. It's like,
I know, yeah, it's a little funny.
That's from this perspective, it's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so this is called open guard, right? So what we're gonna practice doing is I want you to just step to the right. Actually, except step like a little bit closer in, like right here. So like if someone, yeah, so like with that foot, so like
Okay.
step the outside. So if someone comes in trying to step out, what we're doing here is called recovering guard. This outside foot comes in,
Oh, jeez.
And it twists his
yeah,
throat.
and then
okay.
slips out
Okay.
like this.
Wow.
And so now step out to the right side. I'm coming in here, bringing this knee back in. The possibility of a kick,
Yeah.
you know, like pressing forward.
Kind of want to move forward, yeah.
Yeah, and so like and there's also so yeah, so this is basically open guard, right? And so let's just drill it again. Like step to the right, I come in here, I'm moving out this way, the steps this way, I'm putting the right foot here, and I'm moving the hip up. So what I'm actually doing is step out again, and then like hold your legs solid, right? 'Cause I'm gonna like go off you a little bit, because in real life they're gonna, you know, be going hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do here is I'm like lifting up a little bit. I'm using this leg to lift up a little bit, and then I'm sliding this leg out. So I go again this way,
Basically doing the same thing on.
sliding out, yeah. And so there's also like the different points of control. So there's like the hip joint, right? So you can put your foot up on this hip right here, like this. And then like, yeah, you're like pressing out, then I have to deal with the foot. And let's say, watch this, I step out with the foot, now what do? Yeah, you recover guard, like that. And then eventually the goal is to be able to get me far enough away. Or also pushing the knee out is a really powerful one, because that throws you off balance, right?
Yeah, your legs are so strong, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your legs are very powerful. And so that's why in MMA, sometimes like when you see people like on the ground, they're still careful to control the legs, because an up kick might, you know, just obliterate the chin. Yeah, no, your legs are very strong. And so there's also another thing. So this one is a little bit more closer. This one's called close guard. And so Dean's gonna be a funny position. Okay, cool. But basically, no, come here. So like I'm gonna basically wrap your torso around my leg. So like kneel down.
Okay, so.
Yeah. So then they get closer.
Okay.
And so I basically, so this right here.
Oh gosh, okay.
And so you can sit on you can sit on your heels or not. So I mean, either way, it's gonna be realistic, right? So if you're here, you can throw punches.
Okay.
And so my job in full guard, the most basic thing I can do is neutralize his posture. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my legs, which are powerful. When I pull him in, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hold this part of his head down and control this tricep or the wrist, right? And so this is just the very basic, right? Okay. And so at least in that moment, he's not able to, you know, wail on me from that height. What I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to try and slide out like this. I'm going to break my legs apart. Hold steady, yeah. Break my legs apart, and then what I'm trying to do is, it's hard to see, wait, stand up real quick. From here, I'm basically going from this close guard to kind of like a scissor. And what I'm doing is I'm breaking this grip right here, and I'm putting my foot on the ground here, and I'm shrimping out. And then from here, there's the whole another gameplay. If I'm going to throw it back to my left, my right foot's going to plant, and I'm going to do this. And so this is usually either pushing on their hip, their shoulder, their arm, whatever like is like, you know, controlling like your body. So from here, hands here, hips going out, right foot planted. And that is what creates that space, at least to get out from under them. Same thing on the other side. If I want to throw it back this way, left foot plant here, hips, hands on their hips or their arms and their bicep. So like let's say we're here, right? I break down his posture, I'm here, and then let's say I break apart my ankles, and I'm coming here, right? I'm pressing either on his head or his arm. In this case, which is an odd situation, I'm just going like this. planting this foot here, and I'm pushing out. And so now I at least have this room, right? Now, let's say he re-engages from this point. Now we're in potentially what's called half guard. You can either quickly go straight back to open guard here, or let's say he comes back and let's say he tries to re-engage, right? And so what I'm doing is I have one foot between his legs, and now I'm doing what's called a knee shield. This shin is coming up, so come a little bit closer. I'm not gonna hurt you. And so you stand up right a bit more. So if I have this right here, my knee is going from his hip to his opposite shoulder. And so if I'm like this, he can just push that down and he can get by me. If I'm like if I'm like this, he can push my leg out, and then I'm screwed, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm taping this ankle to his hip. I'm kind of hooking it, and then I'm putting my knee across like at a 45-degree angle.
If I'm on my back, I'm keeping you straight up, like between the legs.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. The like
heel to like between the legs, right there.
this part, the solar plexus, neck, eyes, nose, ears too.
Oh yeah.
If you like, because ears balance, that's where all that stuff is. And so if you can, discombobulate. I don't know if anyone's seen Sherlock. Like discombobulate, and also also if you have, if your arms are free and like as he grabs around, I mean you can also like try and hit back, hit here. If someone's also trying to pick you up, like try and pick me up real quick.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
This leg wrapping around there,
immediately gave up.
Yeah, they won't. They're not gonna be able to pick you up.
Yeah.
That's actually another good one. So like the bear hug, right? And so it's you like grab my shoulders like this, right? Yeah. And so first of all, scrunching your neck, kind of like someone's about to tickle you, like you said, like you're going like this, right? Then being able to come in, dive that hand in, and at least having this space right here. And then same thing again, like pushing out, leaning back in, or like doing that similar thing. And so let's say like I come and bear hug you, right?
I bet you don't get mad. And then they'll let you go.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
And so notice how like easy that is. Like I was actually kind of holding on, and so like that space, because like it's all about leverage in grappling. This going out, you need to have that stronger than whatever is holding it. So let's try it again. I'm holding a little bit tighter this time. That. Yeah. See,
Okay.
I was holding on, but after we got to a certain point, my wrist was like bending like this.
You wasn't able to
Yeah,
do
so
it.
I was like, all right, I gotta let that go. And then he gets out. It's not like as much practicality, but let's say someone does come in from behind with like a rear naked choke or something, right?
Oh, geez.
Here.
Okay.
And so what you're trying to do is obviously you're also trying to scrunch up immediately, get your hands in like this, and you're trying to get under so you can at least fight the hands, right? So like, can you get me in just kind of like around the neck? Yeah, so like right here, we're getting this in. And then what I want to do is at least have this hand in. And instead of turning that way, what I'm going to do is take this hand, and I'm going to try and like turn this way. So yeah, so as soon as, you can actually go a little tighter.
Okay.
So like I'm going to hold this here, right? Hold this in,
Yep.
try and get this through at least, and then come around here.
Okay.
And then ideally, I mean, they might not just fall from that, but then from here, grabbing around the waist, depends on the reach. For me, I personally like to grab here, but if you can, you have the power, by all means, grab the ankle, pull it out.
Okay.
But for me, I'm just trying to get them down on the ground. That's my only concern is like if someone has a solid base here and you're just going after that, you might not be able to get that like weight forward. And that's
I'm not
why
strong as curtain. I really couldn't do that.
well, I mean, there's also the weight difference, right?
Yeah.
Like if someone's heavier than you and like unless your technique is flawless, you're not gonna be able to do that. That's why I like to go with a little bit more of a higher percentage thing where like,
So like the knee.
yeah, so like
Like up
here,
more?
yeah, and then so grab this and then grab my waist tight and then now you can like push on, yeah, you can
Oh,
like
I
pull
see,
that,
yeah.
or like you can,
Oh, because like the knee bends, so it's like easier to pull.
yeah, well that too, and what you can do, yeah, exactly, yeah. They say that if you can have 2 points of control out of the 3 joints here, you have a bit of a more dominant position. So like, for me, Dean, sorry, one more time. So I'm trying to grab this knee and this foot. So like if I'm here, like
No,
yes,
see, I got grip now.
and then here it's like
Okay,
it's a little bit more off balance, right? It's two out of the 3 points of control. And like at the gym I train at, there's a guy who's probably like 30 pounds lighter than me, probably actually Katie's height, and he'll wreck me every time. because when we're wrestling, he has good footwork and he has good weight distribution. So you know how you were saying like I could just hold you back like this?
Yep.
I probably could, but let's say put your hand out, right? And so I'm trying to like get past you. If I just come here, then I'm already, you know, in, right? But let's say, Katie, you're in the more of an athletic stance, right?
She got low. She got low. Look at those knees.
And so like, you take that, and say I try and like grab your hand or something, now just take a step back. Or like,
Am I supposed to move?
yeah, just kind of like step back.
That's pretty
And
intense.
so like, let's say if I like
She's
grab
got
your
it.
wrist right here, right? You can grab my wrist here, and then now step this right leg out. Yeah, and then
Oh,
now.
I have more control.
Yeah, you have a bit more control, and you at least have like, you're at least not grabbing, or you're at least not like immediately, you know, under their control. And so this part is where I'm going to be, you know, absolutely honest. Like, same defensive technique still applies. So being able to like have this and at least push out with the hands. So like if you're coming closer, and so like we're here, right? And so like if you have the inside hand on the, like on the bicep, and then have the inside hand on this bicep too, and I'm pushing back, right? Yeah. See, like look, I'm like already kind of pushing, and she's like already able to push back, and especially as a well, especially as a smaller person too, if you're just going at the person, you're not always going to win that fight, but direction change is huge. And so if I'm going against someone who's like stronger than me, like going forward, like let's say we're here, right? I'm going to push forward, and then I'm going to like turn them this way, and I'm going to step back, push forward
like
again,
dancing.
and then stand them this way, right? And so that
That's
like,
actually really confusing.
yeah, because if someone's just pushing you forward and then you change direction, they're gonna.
Yeah, I almost hate it.
Yeah, so it's
Down and run away.
Yep.
Pretty
It
much.
is.
exactly, yeah, and
I
so
like that.
There you go.
exactly, just like shuck them off, and so it's kind of like you're throwing something down, like you have something here, you're like, oh, I hate this, shucking it down. I hate this, you know, shucking it down. Whatever you're shucking it down to, that leg comes back usually, because if I'm, you know, let's say Katie shucks me down to her this leg, right? So like just grab the back of my head, just like shuck me down this way.
Like that?
Yeah, notice how the leg moved out of the way. If that leg was there, I would have grabbed it. You know, right there. So this is the we talk about the collar tie, like the fish hook, kind of coming in. Like this side is on the shoulder, right? So this side's on the shoulder, this side's on the neck, and like have it tight. Yeah, exactly, just like that.
Okay.
And so now if I have the collar tie also like this right here.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. And so now have your hand on the inside of my wrist, and then I have the hand on the inside of your bicep, and we're doing the same thing, pushing.
Oh my god. This is so much harder than I expected.
Pushing.
Hey, look at her wide stance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, this is good right here. And then now, like what I'm gonna have you do is try and disengage. All right, so I'm gonna hold on to you a little bit tight. Do what you feel like is right to get out of this.
To get out of this?
Yeah. Ooh.
Good moves.
So yeah, exactly.
Was
So,
that it?
no, I mean if I'm just trying to press down on you and you don't resist anymore and you just kept out, I was like, oh, what the? And then she's out. She slipped out. And so like people who are, you know, maybe bigger or not as nimble might not be able to do that. And so if you are able to do that, you know, use that to your strength essentially. Yeah. And so if you're in that situation too, trying to get that inside control and this right here. If someone also has you like here, right? What you're gonna try and do is turn this shoulder. So like, see, you have this right here, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna grab this wrist and I'm gonna shuck this shoulder in.
Oh, okay.
Except, I mean, if they move, then you're already winning the fight.
Yeah.
But like, you're basically just trying to break this grip, and so it's like,
Okay.
and so now you're here, and then you can disengage. Worst case scenario, this is what we call turtling.
Yeah.
Getting in like this, right? So they can't get under the arm, can't get into the neck, and then you kind of turtle over like this.
Okay.
And then like you won't be able to do that, and then eventually you want to be able to get to something like this so that you can have like your knee, you have your foot, and then base up into your elbow and have this hand out, and then we call it butt scooting. But it's like,
So technical.
yeah, it's funny because now this is called a technical stand-up.
Yeah.
From this point, from here, you bring this up, this foot comes out with this hand still out, stand up, and you're ready to like, yeah. So one thing that a couple things I wanted to also mention, you know, like we were just talking actually, you know, there's actual technique, but then there's also just like, you know, straight up violence, like using your fingernails, biting, you know, knocking your head into someone's nose, you know, the ears are really flexible and like sensitive. But also, one of the things that tires, that gets people the most, I feel like, in any kind of fighting or like situation is breathing. Because once you start and get into like a, you know, a fight or flight situation, or just like the adrenaline's going, a lot of people will be like, and then instead of using that valuable energy to try, you know, get out of the situation, you've, you know, expended it being tired. And that's just something that comes with, you know, practice. And so I would encourage you to actually like go to a gym and learn some jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of like self-defense based jiu-jitsu, a lot of women classes that like just focus on like jiu-jitsu like for women. And so if you're not comfortable rolling with, you know, men or, you know, or people, and it's like, you know, you can do the class like that. But I wanted to talk about breathing a little bit first. And so like oftentimes when I'm in a situation, if I'm being like, you know, pressed up on and trying to get out, like I'm breathing through my nose. I'm like, and breathing in through your nose, trying to focus on expanding air into your diaphragm, your chest. Because when someone's pressing on you, you feel like you're going to be crushed and you feel like you can't breathe. But remembering that you can actually breathe, you know, I know it sounds it's easier said than done, but remembering that you can actually breathe and just trying to breathe in through your nose, out through your nose, or out through your mouth, but usually breathing in through the nose is better. Once you get really tired, yeah, it's just like, but starting out, like when you do get into that situation, just taking that second to be like, okay, first, breathe. Because if you're not breathing well, you're going to be dysregulated, discombobulated, and normally that's not the best for a self-defense situation. Sometimes that panic is what can, you know, maybe like give you that extra strength needed. But I feel like more often than not, I mean, whatever works for you. Hopefully, you don't ever have to use it, but whatever works for you, like if you are in that situation, just remembering to breathe and just kind of being like, okay, like it's pressure, but I'm going to be fine.